God bless your father. Again and again.
Yes.
So how did you meet Jerry?
So our story. Now, I am that young girl that I started praying concerning marriage very early. I started praying I know at the age of 15, I was praying concerning marriage at 15. Now, I came from a family, my background, my parents, I came from a family that I saw my parents fight. They fought a lot as we were growing as children. So because they fought, it got me scared. And it got my siblings scared. Usually when my parents are fighting, we'll be crying. But as we kept growing up, we stopped crying and we're now the ones, mommy, daddy, stop, we now became the, ones in between trying to separate the fight. So because of what I saw, I am, people that go through this type of experience, one or the other thing happens to them is either they want to get it right in marriage, or they are put off completely from marriage. And I think you find more people on that end, you're just put off, you don't want it, or maybe you repeat the same things that you have seen your parents do. So my environment had a lot of role to play in my upbringing, and it really affected me. So I started praying at the age of 15. I started talking to God about marriage and telling God, you know what? I want a peaceful home. I want to marry a man that will give me peace. I want peace. I wanted peace so much. I started praying and fasting that early. And also, let me even do a little bit of a deviation. Now, when I finished secondary school, the natural thing to do for children that grow up on campus is that you go to the university there. Campus kids usually will go to, and this is UNN I'm talking about, that's University of Nigeria and Nsukka. So it was, it's a university that you want to be associated with, and that's what my parents met themselves. So they are both lions and lioness. That's their school. So it was natural that I should go there. My elder brother went there, was already in university. Then I took JAM, and for some strange reasons, I did not get the cutoff mark for the course I wanted to that first attempt. So the idea would have been, what my parents told me was that, okay, you will stay back and take JAM again. So they went and they started planning on me doing like a computer, going to a computer school or something just to keep me busy. But I had these friends, as in older friends, but from church, that were also born again. And this one thing God did for me, God always placed strategic people in my life to help me, make decisions that will take me further in life. So these people, one of them came and met me and told me, you know what, this is a critical time in your life. Why don't you start praying and telling God that he should use your parents, since your parents are the ones that take decisions for you right now, use your parents to take the right decision for you for your now. So I started praying that prayer. I started telling God, I don't know what it is right now for me, but please use my father, use my mother. One night, my father comes back and he tells me, you know what? You're going to Abia State University, Uturu. And I looked at him, I said, where is Uturu? Because Uturu, I have never known of a place called Uturu. Where is Uturu on the map of Nigeria? I did not know. Abia State, I did not even know. So I'm like, where? This is UNN I'm supposed to go to. Why are you now taking me to Abia State? But there was a prayer I was praying at that time. So that's how my father just came. He didn't even come. He didn't meet me to negotiate. He just came to tell me he had gotten everything, admission, and just told me the next day you're going there, go there. And that was how I left. And I went to Turun. So when I got to Abia State University, that was where this journey started. And surprising, that is where I met my husband. That was the university my husband was in. So as far as I'm concerned, I just believe that God took me to Abia State University just to meet him. So I did my year 1, I did my year 2, and by my year 3, it was my year 3. Remember, I had been praying concerning marriage at the age of 15. I entered university at 15. So that's 15 going to 16. So I've been praying concerning marriage. Now, while I was in university, there was this other friend there, a brother in my fellowship. And he said, oh, while you're praying, why don't you just tell God, when the man speaks to you, you want to know, be convinced as the man is speaking to you. That became another prayer point. So I'll tell God, when this man starts to talk to me or tells me his intention, I want to know. Now, the difference between me and other young girls at the time was that I did not want to do boyfriend. I did not want to date. I was not interested in just being in a relationship. I told God, there was a prayer I used to tell God. I told God, God, my heart is too fragile. I don't want any man to break my heart. Then I'll put it together. Then they break it again, and I put it together. I don't want heartbreak. So whoever the man is, when he comes, I want to know, so that it's only one man that I will give this heart to. I cannot deal with heartbreak. So that was the prayer I said. So when guys will come, guys that will come, young, teenagers come and do all their talk, I was not moved, because as far as I was concerned, I said, this one is split. I want the real deal. And I was that kind of young girl that liked to say, when people come and they are being very nice to you as a brother, because I was in church, so brother is being nice. I always would say, I would say, please define your relationship. I was always straight up, define this relationship, because you're being so nice, giving me gifts, always around me, helping me out. Define this relationship. Let's know where it's going to. Because it's one thing to, it still happens till today. You see guys, they call you all sweet names, and yet they don't have any intention. The person they want to marry is somewhere else. They just be wasting your time, wasting your destiny. So I wasn't caught up for all of that. So I'll tell you, define the relationship. And once they define the relationship, if they say it is unto my, I'm like, I'm not interested, because I had always told God I want to be convinced. So I continued this journey, and by my 3rd year, Pastor Jerry, before he met me, how will I forget? 15th November 2002. I don't forget that day. 15th November 2002. I always used to attend all the, you see, any program they do in fellowship that has to do with a relationship, I will always be there. I will be listening. God bless the late Pastor Bimbo Dukoya. Those days, I will listen. This one, all the do's and this to look for and not. I liked relationship books. I liked such programs. Then there's this woman in Kaduna. I think her name is Pastor Ada. I can't remember her surname now. They invited her. The fellowship invited her to my school then, and that day she came and she was talking about how she met her husband, and she was talking and said something that struck me. She said, at times when you're looking for that person, there might be something that you really want in the man that may not be there, but that doesn't mean he's not the one. She painted the picture of her house was that there was this one thing she wanted, she didn't have, and for some strange reason, the thing just struck a chord with me that there's something you're looking for. You see this one, and I knew what that one is, as in my heart. Let me be open. I think we're being very frank here. We're being very honest.
I know.
So let me be very. So in my list now, like you say, you have list for who to marry. I didn't really have a list. I didn't have a list like my friends had, like, all the boxes to tick. But what I had on my list was, he must love God. He must be God-fearing. At this time in my life now, I liked seeing pastors. When pastors are preaching, I'll just be looking, I'm like, it will just be, I'm like, God, I don't know. All of a sudden, I start getting excited about pastors. And I'm like, hey, but I should tell God, I want him to preach, but I don't want full-time. I don't want full-time, because if it's full-time, there's no money. I don't want to be poor. That was the way I saw full-time ministry. Like, if he's in full-time, we won't have money. So God, let him be doing ministry. Let him go around there, but let him not be full-time. So at times, even to some extent, I can remember in fellowship, I had seen one man they invited, and I was looking at his finger to see this ring. If it's whether that one is if that one is my own. So
Jerry, where are you?
So I got very interested in ministry, someone doing ministry, but I didn't know what job. So when my friends asked me, what will he do now, since it's part-time? I don't know. He can do any job, but that was what I knew, and that he should just love God. That was all I had on my list. So when she said, the only other thing that is container wise, you have content, you have container. Now the only thing I had for container, like how people have tall, dark, and handsome, I wanted a tall a tall man. So when this woman said what she said, something just struck in my spirit. You see this tall thing, it may not happen like this. So my heart just, I just threw it to one corner. Then she now said, so for your marriage. Some of you, the man already knows, but he's finding it difficult to meet you. Call him forth. So we started a prayer of calling him forth in that meeting. See me praying. Hey, mommy, I pray. I call you forth from the north, from the south, from the east, from the west, wherever you are. I was calling my husband forth. I did not know that he was in the same university with me. I was not even thinking where the person is coming from. I was just calling forth. I called him forth. I sold my last money, university. The only money I had remaining, I put it as my seed that evening. Then by the next morning, 16th November 2002, I woke up that morning, and for some strange reason, I just told God that morning, okay, I saw my friends, me and my friends, we sat down, like how girls would gist, we'll sit down, we'll gist, they called me to come and eat in their room, so I went to eat, we started gisting, remember what she said, remember, the type of things we do, just going through all the woman has said, and my heart started beating again concerning that one thing that I wanted. My heart just started beating, I started getting uncomfortable, and I told them, okay, I want to go and rest, because I was a Sunday school teacher at this time, so in our church. So I went to my hostel to rest. And while I went to rest, I told God, wherever this man is, I want to see him today. I don't even know how I made that prayer. I said, I want to see him today. Not even minding. I wasn't thinking that the person was even within, as in like a student. But how, the Spirit of God in you just say things, and you just know this is just the Spirit of God that's at work in you. So that was what I just said. And I slept, woke up, went for Sunday school, finished Sunday school. By this time, my husband was the pastor of All Saints Chapel of Redemption. He was the pastor of the church, the university's church. He was the pastor. So, and he usually will come in once in a while when we're doing Sunday school, he has always known the Bible. He has always been a teacher of the word. So he will just come to give us some, inputs here and there and guide us. So that day he came, listened to what we were saying, added, and as I was about going, he said, oh, you know what, that he wants to do something in my hostel. He used to stay off campus. Off campus where people we considered that had money were the ones staying off campus. But remember, I told you, like my dad will not give you money. So you will struggle, you will just manage. So so he said he wanted to do something in my own hostel. My own hostel was the main hostel at the time, Abiola hostel. So he had both the males and females in that hostel. So he wanted to do something in the male side. So we went together. And he asked me, he said, so how was the program? Because it was my church, my fellowship that organized that program, the relationship program the previous day. Well, how was the program? And I was talking, telling him everything this woman said. He now asked me a question. So what will you expect? The man that wants to marry, how do you want him to talk to you? What will you want him to say? And I started talking. Oh, this is what he would say. This is how he would say. I had no idea that this was a setup. As in, I was just talking. By the time I finished talking, he now looks at me and he now tells me, well, this morning, I woke up this morning and that God told him that he must tell me. Now, see the thing. He knew God told him about me. This was in November. In July, I think that was in July, he came to my fellowship for a program. And while they were introducing those of us in leadership, in the women leadership, they introduced me. That was what he was now telling me later. And when they called my name, Enebong, because that was my maiden name, Enebong, that he said, as soon as I stood, God told him, this is your wife. And he now said Tofiakwa, as in he did, like God forbid now, because of the name Calabar, what is it? So he knew months ago about me, and he never told me anything. And he had been seeing me, but I wasn't even friends with him as such. So he told me, but for some strange reason, that morning, remember, I have called forth my husband the previous day from the north, south, east, and told God I want to see him on that day. This how he just appeared. So my own story is just so, divinely orchestrated. Just see the hand of God. So this was how he just told me, oh, he did not propose. He did not do. He just told me God told him, God told him that I am that he should come and tell me. He now told me, but he's not putting pressure on me. I should go and pray and hear from God for myself. And all I was just hearing when he was talking to me, he is short. He's not tall. That's all that was just ringing in my head. And I started to cry. I was just crying. I left him. I cried and cried. I couldn't pray. I was crying and crying. That was all I could see. I could think of the height. I kept crying. Until one day, I just told myself, you know what? Oh yeah, pray. Go and pray. So we had somewhere we called the bush that people used to go and pray. Say bush, but people go there, quiet, solitary place. So I went in there and I prayed. The day I went to pray, imagine, mommy, I went to pray and my plan was go and ask God questions. But I just entered there, and the next thing I heard myself saying was, okay, God, if this is your will, then that's fine. That was what I heard myself say. And immediately, I have only had this experience maybe 2 or 3 times in my life till today, whereby you feel like something literally lifts from your chest and drops. I've not had the experience. Just about 2 times in my life that thing has happened to me. And that was the first time it ever happened to me. Something just lifted from my heart and dropped. And I felt peace. I felt so at peace. By this time, mommy, there was this brother I was liking in school that I liked, and I was wishing he would propose to me, that he never proposed. So at this time, I now say, God, but if it is Pastor Jerry, then this brother that I've been liking, uncle, make me know that he's not the one. That day we had fellowship. We went for fellowship. We finished fellowship. This brother meets me. As usual, let's go and eat like we will normally go and do with other people. That day we went to everything he was saying. I was irritated. The way he would talk, I'm like, how he's sounding. While he was eating, the way he was eating, I said, he eats. I can't live with this type of man. But this is somebody I have done this thing with over and over, and it's as if something like a scale just left my eye, and I started seeing him differently. And that was how I just knew, you know what, that's it. So we started our journey. 5 years. We went out for 5 years before we now finally got married. And that's how it
Ooh, this is amazing. You need to read the reactions, the responses, the comments. Oh, thank you for being so vulnerable. We've been so blessed.